Hi everyone, I'm back again just to work on my book, and what we're doing is looking at it and creatively healing together, which is exciting. And also I've got my cards which will be coming out. I am working on that, so bear with me with that one. For anybody that's just clicked on, we're working from the very inner wheel of the book, looking at the actual blueprint of our souls. First 6 that are black and white mandalas. They're actually gold and silver and bronze, actually, when you see them in the middle. And this is dealing with our very inner selves, really before we were born. In the beginning was the thought, or the word. I mean, we're at that stage. And really, if you master these, you can master anything. If you know who you are, coming from the divine, I am. Sorry, that's in the wrong order. Then the next one is I create. I'm just going to go through these now because it gives you an overview. And then it's how do I create and what do I create? How do I manifest that onto this earth? Exciting. That's the one we're looking at now. And then I need to stand on my own 2 feet and do it. So not rely on other people to help me. I need to do it. Okay, this is just a very sketchy outline of it. And then the important thing is to have the sort of belief in harmony and love, and find my inner voice, my actual real, the attunement, let's say. So, and there you've got the Fibonacci code, and you've got the belief in growth, and you've got the allowing yourself to spiral down into life and surrendering. Exciting. Uh-oh. So now we hit the obstacles. So this is karma. Woohoo! And don't be frightened that we're going to have obstacles. We wouldn't enjoy our lives actually if we didn't have them. That's a thought, isn't it? So it is actually, I like to think of life as a big game, which annoys quite a lot of people actually. But anyway, that's what we're looking at. And when you've actually got these under your belt, the rest is actually really surprisingly not so difficult to work with. You have this inner fortitude and strength. Well, that's what we're working on anyway. Okay, so let's just look at these in the big form. We've done that. I am. We've done the we are, which looked like this, the Vesica Pisces here. Sorry, the Vesica Pisces, but the joining of the male and the female. And we worked on that last week. We looked at different things that happen in relationships, and we looked at this wonderful creative energy that's kind of raw potential. And now we're going to look at this beautiful extra ring has come to join. Number 3, it's a magic number. So this ring is going to allow us to actually create stability and manifest our projects on this earth, and to be. Right, well, we better look at that one then, hadn't we? So let's have a look. This is a bit sketchy, but it's just to illustrate while I'm chatting away, otherwise it gets a bit boring. So we've done these 2 inner pillars that are meeting together, creating this egg, the joining together in the one before, the egg. What happens when you have 2 straight lines is you can't contain energy, can you? No. So you get all this sort of vapor, all this sexual excitement, and it's going nowhere. I mean, we've all had those relationships. Wonderful, exciting, but we don't really want to go any further with them. So they fizzle out, or they might come back again a bit, but they don't have longevity. So in order for us to create, we have to lean in. And we have to join and create another circle here. And I thought this was rather fun because it is actually Valentine's Day, so this is exciting. I thought it would illustrate it quite well. I mean, that's what I like about working with art therapy, is you can talk about all these things in very mathematical ways. Do you remember that? Well, I don't. Just go like that. So if I have a pretty picture, then yes, I might remember it more. So here we've got the joining of the male and the female, and there's this nice sexual energy going on, but they're leaning together. They're creating this triangle. They're bringing in this kind of belief in each other, this extra self thing. And that's wonderful. So the energy now is contained. And what's very interesting next I'd like to look at is the triangle. So the triangle is a very powerful symbol. I mean, you're lucky if you have triangles in your horoscope, you know, your astrological chart. I don't. I'd love to have lots of them, but that makes it more of an obstacle for me, so I have to create things myself. But if you do have them, wow, you're going to have a lovely, easy flow, because it's actually a lucky number. It naturally flows. So if you have a planet here, a planet there, and a planet there, the energy will just keep flowing along. If you have a planet just there, opposite, that's called inquadrada, and it just bounces backwards and forwards and tends to be quite conflictive. So you look at that, that is lovely. And so you can actually visually see this. You can see the energy. Imagine we're boiling this energy up. It's like steam creating, and it's collecting here, driving you forward. So you've got an aim and a goal. You're aiming towards something. You can create a baby if you want, or you could have a home, a book, a business, a garden, a shed, or a dinner. You can have any of those things. You can actually, anything that you're male, female, inside you or outside, obviously outside's just manifesting back to you what you're doing, can happen now because you're committed. You've kind of yoked, and I think these words are so wonderful. In the marriage gospel, we talk about the yoking together. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't mean to be specifically religious, but it is just interesting how we have these things. Also, I think it's fascinating that in our common vernacular, in our language, we use number 3 a lot to say third time lucky. That underlines that lovely flowingness. We've got the 3 Goldilocks, the Goldilocks and the 3 bears. So sort of the idea of the third time you do something, you'll learn it. You won't make a mistake the third time. The genie with the 3 wishes. And it is actually the beginning of the flower of life. So you've got here the multiplicity of forms. After this, anything's possible. That's why, as I said earlier, I don't need to go into 4, 5, 6. I mean, it is implicit later on in these other mandalas when we're dealing with them. I was trying to illustrate that, didn't work. But anyway, so it's a fascinating number. So what we need to do is look at our tripods in our life, our trinities. And it's interesting because psychologists will say, quite often say, well, what are your tripods looking like? I mean, because it gives you stability in life. So that may be my wife, our relationship. It might be, whatever you're working on. And we can explore these. You can do different diagrams. They're kind of almost like school children's diagrams to explore these different tripods. So here I just did a classic one. I thought, well, to me, male energy looks very pointy-inny. It's kind of decisive and gets on with things. And women's energy to me is kind of receptive, and I say women in the yin and the yang form. I kind of tend to throw these words out. But it's more receptive and it's more kind of floribundant, and there's lots going on, and it's kind of doing stuff all the time in a different way. And then I like the idea of the spiral coming in. That's more of a catalyst for change. So I think so we're going to explore some of these different tripods next, just for fun. So the next one I thought I'd look at was what it looks like when, say, you're in a relationship or inside yourself. You're very good with your female side. You're not so good. It's not happening on the male side. It's shrinking a bit. You just can't be bothered to get out there. You're just making things and you're not doing much with it. Oh, but I'll compensate. So instead of bringing in a healthy third element, you might go and sit on the computer for ages, or you might bring in if it's in marriage, you might bring in another lover. So it's going to what that will do is force you apart. So that's not going to be helpful. And if you see that in 3D, if we're thinking of the stool, you know, you get one long leg, that's me being all, well, that's the relationship that's taken over. And then you get the, you know, these two out of balance. So everything's out of balance. So it's really important to look at these tripods, see what's going on. It's how we create balance in our life. I thought this was a fun one too, particularly for people that have had babies, which most people have, but or they've had some massive project that's been taking over. You know, have you felt that? And it's quite cathartic to look at that. Here you are, you're working, you're balanced, you're on it, and the project has grown. So maybe it's time to take some time out and let it get back, condense itself out. You know, maybe you need time for you two rather than just the baby. Get someone in to look after the baby. So these are all kind of, and then I did this quite rude actually, but you've got the two little people behind with this great, so your tripod is really lopsided and not, and then that will again force you apart if you're not careful. So you want to look after these things, that's a good idea. And then, you know, to explore it more, I just thought, well, I'll do my one with like a diagram to really nail into me what I'm doing with these videos, you know, what I'm doing bringing out my work. So I wrote on my male side and my female side and my aim. Yeah, why not? So this is a good example of how to use it. So I put, okay, so the male side, I need discipline, structure, perseverance, excellence and logic, and I need a bit of how to work these computers and stuff like that. On the female side, I need creativity, surrender, receptivity, intuition and gifts. I need to bring all those gorgeous things out. And what do I want to do with them? So my aim, which I'm aiming for, is down here. So I'm aiming to bring out the special Luciness, the authentic Lucy, which, you know, hopefully I always do, but it's almost as though I want to walk through a bit of more magic. I want to spiral up. And this is what our souls are always asking us to do, spiral up. So it's going, okay, so my aim is to be more of me and to be more authentic and to bring more abundance into my life and reach out to more people and have fun. Well, I need to get going on doing these things, which are my videos, my book, women's circles, workshops, and all the other things that have come along with it. So that was, yes, that's the most important one. You know, that's not the most important one. That for me is obviously important. What I'm actually looking at is the most important one. This one. So this is what man is actually grappling with at the moment. Man, I talk about humanity in a sense, is that we've slightly forgotten that we've come to think that we don't need a bridge between heaven and earth, and that we can be gods without help, you know, from above. We're missing that belief. And that's a very important tripod to have in our life. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in, or if it's just loving and hugging trees. I'm a real tree hugger. But I have a smattering. I just believe in God in some great sense. And it's very interesting, if we don't have some belief put in place, holding us and making us feel protected and strong, we will always hit a wall. And I found it really interesting because I've just been reading Eric Clapton's memoirs, and it's fascinating. And there he is, he's in the sexual energy very much here. He thinks, and he does actually say, I think I was God. I was drinking, having a great time. This other circle actually is quite a lot of, he puts quite a lot of alcoholism, and he escapes really. And he's not really being aware of who he is, and it's fascinating in this book. And then he says by the very end, and he's had a lot of success, but he's never felt that inner sense of joy from it. It's never completed him. He's never felt from it really. And then he says, quite unapologetically and straight out, he says, everything I do now, when I begin my day, I get down on my knees and I pray to my God. And he now has a beautiful wife and a lovely life, and he's found belief, and it's given him a sense of everything makes sense to him now. And you know, it's a different journey for him, and I find that really humbling and beautiful. And I think it's this sense of humility, that we're not alone. We are very, very much divine beings, if you've seen in the gold and the silver, and we have been given this extra, this is the thing that joins us into the earth and materializes us, but it also keeps us humble. And it's really important to look at that. I think that's the most important tripod that we have. And you know, explore it. Maybe you know, what does it like just to feel this energy going that way or that way, but not that way and around, and it can spiral out. There's so much more magic that comes when you open up to that one. Anyway guys, so we've done a bit of an overview there, so we'll be looking at how to stand on our own 2 feet, which is the first one I had to do when I got here for my new life in Cyprus. How amazing is that, when I was coming to be with my dearly beloved, and the actual mandala I chose was stand on your own 2 feet. My family will be thrilled to hear that. So that's what we'll be exploring next. Take care. Bye.